for those looking to be signed, can you give like a general breakdown of how much a band should expect to spend to be successful in the music industry? Up, down, everywhere.
It's whatever. It's whatever. I'm sure there's guys.
Next question.
I'm sure there's guys who built a career just Instagramming and I mean, I see kids every day. Yeah, man. Like today, I'm out and I'm going to get some new shoes.
They do the stories.
But they're connecting with people, and then there's people who's I mean, I think Slipknot. I want to say they spent $50,000 or more doing their demo, making their first record on their own dime, like basically like budgets that Roadrunner would have given them. They're like, look, we really believe in this. We want to show a label how much we're into it, and they made the best possible production they could.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked,
And then some.
So it can work either way. But I definitely believe, I mean, it's like if you look at Bandcamp now, I mean, you get a Mac, and it comes free with, audio programs. Any fool can cut their own record with that.
Yeah, it comes with GarageBand and all that.
Yeah. But doesn't mean it's going to be any good.
Yeah, that's true. It's a demo's a demo. I mean, there's a difference clearly, but as long as you have the belief in it, you can take it anywhere you want to.
Absolutely.
And I guess to get a better understanding of what Earache Records is all about. I mean, just like, to ask why, for everybody, why should musicians work with independent labels rather than the traditional ones?
I mean, the majors, I always compare indies to majors. If you go to the beach and you see a huge, like, cruise ship or an oil tanker, and they're heading out to sea and like, oh, we're going the wrong direction, that takes them a day to turn around and go the other way because the ship is so fucking big.
Of course.
Whereas if you have like one of them speedboats, you can do 360s. You
can
do it
go all around.
And the indies, we have the ability to move a lot quicker and everything than the majors. As you may or may not know, we did a licensing deal with Columbia in the 90s. And I would come in, visit from England, and we'd be on the 25th floor. Like, Al, you want to get some lunch? I'm like, sure, let's get some lunch. All right, we're going to meet on the 27th floor in 40 minutes. Like, that's cool. Hang on, change the plans, Al. We're going to meet on the 22nd floor in 30 minutes. Like, all right. No, we're going to... And I was like, my God, these people, it takes them 2 hours just to decide which floor to meet for lunch, let alone set up records. However, historically, when they do set up records, you're going to go mega. But another thing to keep in mind with the majors is... for every act you see, like a Drake or Rihanna or whatever, there's probably 1,000 other people who they've invested in who never see the light of day.
Yeah.
I had a friend once working at a label called Geffen, and I went down there to meet her for lunch, and she's like, let me give you a promo shirt. Like, what size are you? Large. Like, all right, come with me. So we go in the back room. She's trying to find the promo shirts, whatever, and there's just a wall of 2-inch tapes and DAT tapes, like master tapes. I'm like, what's all this? He's like, oh, that's old bands we signed, and we just figured it's cheaper just to bury them than to release them. I'm like, what? Wow. I was talking to a kid who was on American Idol doing rock, and the judges and the major label A&R guys are like, what are you wasting your time with this rock crap for? Rock is dead. Like, it's either female pop, Katy Perry's and Rihanna's or, Miley's or whatever, or it's hip-hop. And it's like, rock is dead. And it's like, well, it's not dead. I go to concerts every day.
Rock is never dead.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But their attitude was rock is dead. And, I'm sure now with artists like Greta, they're like, shit, rock actually, this could be something here. But, for people like us, it's never going to go away,
Jeez. I mean, it's not going to go away. And primarily, another reason why is because of, social media, getting back to that. Where is the benefit when fans stream or record tours from bands who are looking to profit from their ticket sales? I mean, do you think streaming on Facebook Live is good for local musicians who already struggle to get people to attend their shows?
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of social media is, I wouldn't say it's bragging, but it's people like, look at my best life. Look at this amazing life I'm living. Like, look, dude. I mean, I went to a hip-hop show at Vitus, not Monday, but the Monday before.
Yeah.
And half the kids were in the pit,
just doing that.
Instagram Live. I mean, they're getting smashed about, but it's like, you can't believe it. I'm in the pit at the show.
That's
and I mean,
absolute nuisance.
If you're sitting at home watching, you're like, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to think, ultimately, though, it's just another form of promotion, Yeah,
I mean, to counter that, I went to see the Scorpions a couple of years back, and you know, I was like working with Sony, and they left me, you know, some tickets for my press and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting down, and there's a couple of guys like down in the front row, and they're just holding up like regular digital cameras and recording the entire set. I mean, the entire thing. I was getting up singing like a madman, and they're just
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's like, what do you mean? What do you pay for your ticket for? You could do that at home. You know what I mean? So that's why.
Well, I mean, but there's a whole generation of people who everything, you know, they live through their phones or whatever. You know.
Now here's my thing, you know, and this is something that I was always, you know, thinking about when even comedians do this. Now they're starting to take away phones from shows.
Right.
And they're just saying we don't want anything.
But
Danzig is notorious for doing this.
Sure,
you know?
I was gonna touch on that.
Good old Glenn.
Yeah, no. If you've never been to a Danzig show in recent years, he'll have a sign at the door saying "No cell phones," which is ridiculous because everybody. Cell phone is basically like a hand, or it's part of your life for most people now.
Mm-hmm, it's an appendage.
And he'll actually have his security team going through the crowd, like threatening people and stuff.
Yep.
That's one way of doing it. I would not suggest that way, but you know, Glenn's Glenn. Glenn can do whatever he wants. But there's a band called Wardruna, which is like it's Norse traditional folk sort of stuff, almost kind of spiritual. And I went to that show.
That was at
yeah.
I know which one you're talking
Town
about.
Hall.
I was at Knitting Factory.
No, Town Hall.
That was Town Hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was no signs
Oops.
for that. There was no signs at all. But because it was such a special night and a special band, people were just like, I just want a quick photo to show them there. And everybody put their phones away. No one was like that the whole night. And no one was telling anybody, but everyone was like, it's not a show where you're going, like standing there all night.
Yeah.
Right? I go to, you know, we both go to a lot of shows. What I'll try and do is just take a photo or two at the start, maybe a quick stream if it's an Earache band, and then I'll put everything away.
Yeah, you use it for promotion for yourself, you know, and it all is different. I mean, we were at a show last night. We were at Goat Whore at, you know, Gramercy Theater, and it was just, you know, either moshing or there was 2 or 3 people holding up phones, and then that was it.
Yep.
So I guess, you know, it either comes...
trying to put a sign on the door saying "How dare you" and don't use it, or the thing you're talking about, the lockers. What was it? The Vegas show? People just tearing the plastic lockers open and filming the Misfits. Do you know what I'm saying?
I heard about that. About that.
But like, I mean, I understand why Glenn wants to be like, look, you're paying for the show, fucking see the show, but you can't legislate that or whatever. It's almost like the more you say people don't do it, you know,
they want to do it anyway.
Human nature is they're gonna fucking do it, you know.
And it's just living through social media and just living through Facebook, and it's like it's kind of disappointing to me because when I see that, it's like, you know, that the whole purpose of a live show is just to have that experience.
But that's your idea or my idea. But other people's idea is to be like, I've got the whole thing documented on my Instagram feed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's not my world.
Times are definitely different for sure.
Jeez. Now I have to look at it now. I gotta make sure I got my phone in my pocket.
But there's an Aussie band called King Parrot, and I'm sure they do this at most shows.
Hi, Matt.
They will literally,
Hi, Todd.
they will literally mock people who standing there filming. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I like to see. Like, put it down.
Yeah.
I like that comedy.
we saw them at Vitus not too long ago,
I was
and
at that show.
So he has this bad habit of mooning people when they hold up their phones.
Well, didn't he shove his phone up some girl's ass? Or
yeah,
something?
he did. Yeah. Youngie did that.
And she
Youngie
just
did
walked
that.
out in disgust.
Yeah, it was great. It was absolutely classic. It was just like Matt was like, I don't care. That's it.
She didn't say anything. She wasn't like, fuck you. She just like.
Did he kind of like stink palm her phone, kind of put it in between his ass crack, and then here, now you can have it.
He swiped it like a credit card. That's what happened. Yeah.
And she just was like so horrified. She just turned around and walked out of the venue.
This is why
they were
love King
dying
Parrot.
with laughter. The whole band was just crying on stage. It was so good. But whatever. My personal belief is you can't legislate that, and the more you try to, the more people are going to do it. Whereas, as I said, someone like Wardruna, there was no legislation for it. But people just like, fuck, I just want to absorb the show, man. I don't want to be like that, you know. Whatever, you know. Anyway, what's next?
Yeah. So we're gonna take it back a little bit, and we're coming up on the 6th anniversary of the passing of David Gold.
Yep.
The lead singer of the band Woods
Yep.
of Eucharist. Obviously, the vinyl's right behind you. They were signed. Nope, on your. There you go.
I knew it was somewhere. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Can you share some foresight on the potential success of the band and what might have possibly happened after the release of Woods 5?
I'm a huge, it's one of my favorite Earache signings, and I'm a huge fan of that band. And I think I spent maybe 2 years playing that record at least once a day, which is unheard of for me. Because usually by the time an album comes out,
you burn it out.
Yeah,
and
you burn out on it. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Who knows what could have happened? But I will say this: is they won a Juno, which is like a Canadian Grammy.
Yes.
For the best metal record of that year.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, him getting wiped out when he did, it was the beginning of something really, really special, which should have happened, but it didn't. It wasn't fated to happen or whatever. But in my mind, he should have been in one of the biggest metal bands in the world.
Yeah, I believe that.
Because he had the energy, it had the melody, it had everything,
Well, I mean, funny enough, I learned of Woods from you when you got an advanced copy of the record.
Right.
And he was playing it while I was working, and I'm just like, what is that? That sounds, amazing.
But if you go back and look at the catalog, there was such a progression from Woods 1 through Woods 4. As they discover, they worked on their craft of songwriting and being black metal, but having tunes and all that sort of thing.
There was a beautiful variety for for me it was the Green Album was Woods 4 and then Woods 5 is the timeless classic.
Yeah, but even Woods 3, you're starting to see. Your Ontario Town is my burial ground. All that. You're starting to see that sense of songwriting, but still being depressive and still being dark and gloomy. But the songwriting is starting to be there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
So to me, the sky was the limit for those guys, or would have been. But what's happened has happened. I mean, it sucks.
It does. I miss that band a lot. I miss David a lot. Like she knows.
But
it's always on.
But if you look at rock and metal, you got guys who are 70 years old who look like young kids because it's kept them alive.
Absolutely.
But you've got people who've been wiped out in their prime, Dime and Vinny, and all sorts of shit, So it's kind of, I think they say the average death rate of a professional musician is 47, and whether that's through drink, drugs, or driving, we lost VTech from fucking decapitated and shit like that,
Yeah, that was really sad.
I mean, it's almost like you got to look at life like a Final Destination thing. When your number's up, it's up,
Jeez.
Yeah, but anyway, great album. One of my favorites. I mean, we've done 660 Earache records now, whatever. It's definitely one. If I had to pick, what do you call it, Desert Island discs or whatever, that would definitely
be it for you.
Be one of them.
Well, getting up to the last question, 660 Earache records, all the way to now, like you just said. What is up on the horizon for Earache and what's going on in 2019?
Good question. We have a lot of internal talks about, as you said earlier on, about why do you need a record company in this day and age. I still believe you do. There's people who have been predicting the death of CDs for a long time. It's not my... I stream everything, and I'll buy vinyl of something I'm really passionate about, but other than that, I'm on Spotify all day long or Apple Music all day long.
Everything's streaming now. Everything's all digital streaming.
For me. But there is, like metal kids, I wouldn't say we're nerds, but people are collectors, and people want to buy shit and have the physical and all that sort of thing. As I said, I still mail order stuff like that. So there's a lot of internal talk with us about what is a record company and what does it mean in 2018 or 19 or whatever. I think a few years ago, Dig said to me, just probably off the cuff and remark, but he's like, the day we never have to do physical again, I'll be happy. Because you have to press up all these records, and then the store's like, yeah, we'll take them. Like, oh, we didn't sell, have them all back, and you're sitting in warehouses.
They'll just stay there.
You remember we used to get 5,000 returns that are sent up on the door. Like, there you go. Like, gee, thanks. What do I do with them?
Actually, like what I've seen, actually, what's been going on lately is that they're doing the USB disc. So the whole album is on this like USB,
Right.
and it's nicely designed. It's got a nice, cool look to it, and everything like
Yeah,
that.
we did that. I think not much 100, but we definitely did a USB at some point to commemorate maybe 30 years. We did a 30 years one. Yeah, but it's like also Bandcamp. One of my favorite DSBM bands is a band called Psychonaut 4 from Georgia, not Georgia the state, Georgia the country, which is part of Russia. And
Plot
on
twist.
their Bandcamp, I ended up buying their entire catalog for like $37. Just buy it all, click, download it on the iPod, whatever. Whereas had I wanted to mail order all those records, I think their label's Austrian or something like that, it would probably cost me like $180 in buying the CDs, airmail shipping,
shipping costs,
and all that shit, and then you have to wait weeks for it to turn up. So there, so like I can see Dig's point on that, but at the same time, a lot of the fans, every year we just sell thousands of Morbid Angel, thousands of Napalm Death, because kids are like, dude, I lost my vinyl, I got to get a new one, I got to replace it. So there's that element of it. But as far as music's concerned, probably definitely some more blues rock. We've actually just done our first hip hop artist, a guy called Ali Reza. There's a real trend now in what year? I mean, it's 2018 now, but like there's kids now who grew up playing. You were talking before about video games, but grew up playing like Tony Hawk's or whatever. And on those games, there'd be a mixture of hip hop,
rock,
and metal.
Yup.
So they're not like, yeah, man, I'm just like a hip hop kid. I got to be hip hop, or I'm just a metal guy. They're open
There's a
to
variety.
different things. Yeah. If it rocks, it rocks. If it sucks, it sucks. Sort of
Yeah.
thing. So there's a whole generation. I saw that hip hop show at Vitus 2 Mondays back, and I took Kareen, the girl that you met yesterday.
Yeah.
And
Hi, Kareem.
hi, Kareen. And everyone's decked out in hip hop gear or whatever hip hop gear is. If you saw it, the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And the DJ jumps up and he puts on TSOL, which is Southern California hardcore, Germs, and Suicidal, and all these hip hop kids are bouncing off the walls. And she's like, this is not what I expected at all. But there's a whole revolution of kids. They're into wearing like death metal long sleeves and listening to hip hop or whatever. So we're steering in that direction, but at the same time, we'll still be doing grindcore, we'll still be doing our death metal, we'll still be doing our blues rock. But we're Earache, we can do whatever we fucking want. You know what I'm saying?
And that's great that you're looking into different genres and giving them a platform to, especially here in New York City, because everybody's a musician here in New York City. So that's great. I like to hear that.
I mean, look at our history though. We've had a ton of bands from Scandinavia. We were signing Scandinavian bands before black metal even broke. Cadaver from Norway.
Yeah, that was one of the first.
Yeah, they were the first. I think they were the first or second Norwegian extreme band to have a worldwide contract, and that was before all of your Emperors and.
Yeah, I remember looking at
Mayhems.
those CDs like I don't know what this is.
Right,
This
exactly,
was 22-year-old.
So we're Earache. We can do whatever we want. As I said before, we did techno in the '90s. This is what Dig's passionate about now, so this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. No, definitely. Thank you so much for going into that. And
No
I'm really
problem.
happy to hear
Hopefully
that. I'm happy to hear what's coming up in next
give
year.
you guys some insight into what we're all about.
You did. You gave a lot, and I mean,
we'll definitely be back because we, what's
Hell
coming
yeah.
up in 2019. We're gonna be back and follow up with you for sure.
Good.
Yeah, we'll come back to the office. Or we might just see you next week at a show. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the way.
well,
that's the
gonna
way it
happen.
goes in New York.
That's a given.
And then we'll relive some of Derek's hazing.
Yes.
Yeah, all that other stuff that's not going to be in the next interview, I swear. Anyway, on that note, I'm Derek.
And Marissa.
Yeah,
And I'm Al.
And that's
Al.
and that's Bloody Al Dawson, Earache Records. Guys, I'm grateful for being here. I'm grateful
Thank you for
coming
coming out,
back.
hanging out.
Come back to the shop. This time.
He's got PTSD now. It's like
Yeah, I do. But
flashbacks, Vietnam flashbacks.
That's-
That's why it's in black and white.
and that's why and that's why I'm turning off the cameras now. We'll see all of you next time.
Take it easy, guys.